So welcome viewers to another big episode of the Big Leap. It's our pleasure, honor, an episode that we have been looking forward for quite some time. It's an honor to have with us Colonel Sanjeev Govila, retired from Fauji Financial Services. Colonel Sir started this organization in 2009. So in the last 12 years, there is hardly anybody in the distribution arena who doesn't know about him or what he and HFI stand for. Before starting Fauji, Sanjeev sir was an active member of the armed forces, and then he took this gigantic leap to come into the mutual fund and the investments part of the world. He's a qualified, certified financial planner. He's also has an RIA for this business. Among the distribution partners we know about, I would say he would be one of them who would have done the highest number of investor education series across India, which we'll touch upon during this session. So welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being a part of Big Leap. We would want you to start that. How did this change happen from being in the armed forces, and how did HFI start?
Firstly, thank you very much, Mr. Mayukh, for considering me eligible to be part of this big series that you are doing. I really feel honored that you thought me worthy of having a place here. Now, coming to the question as to how did I start my MF journey? I had been an investor for a very long time in stocks, in mutual funds, all that was there, but that was me as an investor. And I always had a lot of conviction in the power of right advice. Now, as they say, mid-career blues, I had done about 25 years in the army at that time. And I thought that I have got everything that I could. I had reached almost the pinnacle of my performance, my career. There was really nothing much more that I was looking for. I was quite happy with the fund, not that there was no problem at all. I was already empaneled, as we say, already selected for the next rank of brigadier. And I was to pick it up in the next few months. But somehow I felt that I need to do something else. I need to see what else is around and try my hand at it. That is the idea which germinated sometime in 2007. And it kept on growing. In between, I did my MBA also. But this idea did not leave me. Discussed with my wife also, who tried to dissuade me from this, saying that everything is going fine. Why do you want to go? But anyway, so after a lot of yeses and no, I put in my resignation. They did not, the army did not approve it for 2 years. They tried to convince me that, everything's wrong with you, right with you. Why do you want to go and all that? You've been doing so well and all. But finally, they accepted my resignation in 2009. And physically, of course, I left on 31st March to join this profession on the April Fool's Day in 2010. When I was leaving, at that time, the big thing was, what should I do now? What is there for me to do now so that I get the satisfaction, the second career satisfaction that I was looking for? I looked around, my wife also, we were trying to search. We crossed out a lot of things we didn't want to do. Finally, when I looked around, I saw my own people. I was always interested in finance, personal finance. In fact, I was an ad hoc or, unofficial advisor to so many people around. And I saw that there was a lot of financial problems in the armed forces. Financial problems are not because of low pay or anything like that, but it's management. And, people, they have a risky career, definitely, no doubt about it. They're away from civilization so that the best of the advice is not available to them. An insurance agent becomes the de facto advisor, right? Yeah. And as the way the ethos in the armed forces is, they are more oriented towards, towards their career, towards doing the job that is given to them. And there used to be no money discussions ever, I saw ever happening there. And hence there was no financial knowledge in the Fauji community at all. So somewhere I started making up my mind that this is what I want to do for it to be a career, and also where I can give back to the society where I come from and we have gained hugely over such a long time. And what you mentioned about that we do only in armed forces, this was colored when I read a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. It's a beautiful book by Rennie Mabon and Chan Kim. Now this book talks about not getting into the red ocean. Means, why do you want to have unnecessary competition when you have the whole blue ocean available to you? I started thinking, what is the blue ocean available to me? And I said, why not armed forces itself? Let me stick to it. That's how Hum Fauji started.
Lovely. I remember hearing you in one of the industry seminars, and that's where you talked about one statement I would like to bring in, that you said that I rather be a big fish in a small pond than be a small fish in a large pond, and you were talking about this. So,
Yes.
and then that's how, and that's when you were talking about Hum Fauji's journey. I would now go back to when you started on that April Fool's Day, and then the first 2 years. I wanted you to touch upon how did you go about talking to the Fauji bhais and talking to them, their families, about money and personal finance, because as you said, this is a subject which is totally alien to them.
First few clients were a breeze. When me and my wife, we announced that this is what we are going to do, you'll be surprised. The first 20 clients were almost at our doorstep the very next day, metaphorically speaking. Right?
Yeah.
That was not the issue. The issue was 21st onwards. These 20 people, the first 20 people were the ones who had all the faith in us, no matter what we were going to do. There was no problem. Now, these were our close friends who always believed in us. After that, the next 50 was the Mount Everest. Why it was Mount Everest for us was because we didn't know what is sales technique. We didn't know. We had no idea about it. We didn't know how to convince somebody that this is a good thing to go ahead. And there was a lot of hesitation also. What if things go wrong? What will happen to our reputation? Reputation of the company. Of course, company hardly had any reputation at that time, but the personal reputation that we had built up over such a long time in the Forge, right? And one more thing, some juniors approaching us. How do I tell them to be my clients? Some of them were the people, they were working under me. I commanded a battalion. They were there as my juniors, direct juniors and all. How do you tell your own people? How do you tell your juniors to be your clients? This was a big deal.
Okay.
And that is where I hit upon, one idea, and that is soft selling. How do you do soft selling? I said, I will conduct huge number of investor education programs. And that is where my travel started all across the country.
So I remember you talking about that there was a time when almost 90% of your clients you had not met. This would be very anti to any sort of distribution business setting up where clients would like to meet, test, understand a advisor or a distributor, and then start opening up their life story or their personal finance discussions. How were you able to do that at the initial go? Because that is something which is very different at Hum Fauji versus any other distribution practice.
Absolutely. And this is something we maintained right from the beginning, and we do it even till now. I think there have been 3 occasions in the past 11 years that I've gone to somebody's house. And those 3 occasions were when the person was bedridden or have had a huge, personal setback. And I really wanted to go and offer my condolences and things like that. My own team members, I have a team of 40 people now. My own team members, maybe 2-3 times, 4 times in the past 11 years, they would have gone to some client because of such circumstances only. We've maintained that we are financial doctors. It is only in old Bollywood movies when the doctor used to come to the house. So uh, if you feel that you are ready to spend your time to travel and come to our office if you wish to, then that means you are a serious client. If you don't wish to travel even that much, then probably the relationship will remain very weak. So based on this premise, and this premise is even till today, and now we have discovered things like Zoom and all that. Now there is, I think we will further restrict the visits of our clients to our office.
So in that sense, even your office location was something thought about, that there is a reason why HFI is located in a certain area of Delhi because it was near the airport.
We take 100% only armed forces clients. The only exception we make is in case of widows. In case of widows, because we feel that ladies, especially widows, have just no idea about financials. And if we don't help them, then somewhere we are doing a disservice to the society. So only in case of widows do we not follow this Fauji rule. We are located next to the airport, very close to the airport, because lots of our clients, they keep traveling and they come via Delhi. When they are transiting Delhi, they find it easy to come to us, and we are very close to Delhi camp. So that is how we are in a place called Dwarka in Delhi, which is almost midway between the two, and people find it easy to come. So although we try and dissuade people from coming to our office, we somehow believe that nobody should waste their time on this thing. We can convey whatever we wish to do through phone, through WhatsApp video, and the Google Meet and Zoom now. There is no real need to physically meet up.
So, sir, my next question is, because you have a specific clientele that you will only service them and not others, when it comes to the mutual funds or the whole investment gamut, how is that discussion or the final proposal given is different from, let's say, a normal individual who were to invest? Because you are working only on one specific type of investor, what do you see is very specific to that segment and not to others?
See, there are a few peculiarities of armed forces clients. For example, number one, almost nobody needs medical insurance.
Okay.
Because they are covered for life, their family is covered, their spouses are covered for life, their children are covered till a certain age. So they don't really need, and even after retirement, it continues. When they are serving, when they are working, they have a large life insurance which comes to them from the organization. That also they do not need. And very importantly, if they do 20 years in the armed forces, then they get a pension, and the pension can be pretty good. So they really don't have to plan for this big thing called retirement pension themselves. So these three things apart, everything else is the same like any other client.
Okay.
So there we do normal, financial planning, goal planning, asset allocation. Everything else remains the same. Only these three things have to be taken care of. Their own children. We take armed forces officers serving or retired, and their close family members like children and parents. That's all. So their parents could require these things. Their children who are working in corporate, they could require these things.
Great. So, sir, when you see them managing finances for now more than a decade, and some of them you have been advising even prior to starting the setup, what is your view for investors to do, which are basics for them to actually live through their investments and then be able to make wealth? All plans are good, but what is on the implementation where it fails? What are your views on that?
Yeah, like they say, every plan is good till the first contact. I'm talking in terms of war. So the very first moment of the war, all the plans go haywire. So plan A doesn't work, plan B doesn't work. It is the plan C which has not been made works. So it always happens like this. But of course, that was just in jest. Basic principles of financial planning always remain, and we keep discovering and rediscovering it all the time. Like they say, time in the market is more than timing, is stronger than timing the market. risk profile is the god, asset allocation is the second god. These things, they always remain.
Okay.
We have seen that if we actually, and these are not theories, somewhere when you've just started, and or you are comparatively, you have a smaller business, you are younger in the business, you feel these are theoretical concepts. But as you grow older, as your business grows older, you have clients who've stayed through with you for longer years, you realize that these principles do work, and they work very, very strongly. The only reason they don't work is when the client panics, you also panic, and it is the client driving the business or the portfolio rather than you driving the portfolio. That is when things start going wrong.
Lovely. So I'll just call upon my colleague Tarun here. Tarun Varshney is our colleague in the Delhi office and takes care of the Fauji relationship from our side. So Tarun, would request you to share your experience about talking to Sir and managing rest of the team at HFI.
Sir, I have a pleasure to know Sanjeev sir and Bindu ma'am in year 2015 when I have joined Mirae. So I could sense very clearly in the first meeting itself that his mission was to serve a particular segment of investor, that is the armed force officers, that is our serving or retired one. So I think their every decision to be a investor centric only since beginning. So they are only focused on the investors centric. So I think we all are aware that armed force are special for us, and they are serving them with their special and crystal process. So he provide them solution after doing so many research on different financial product, and I think never focus on particular scheme and particular any company. He has a research team also who works on the selection of products and compare among peers on the basis of different parameters, as well as he advise accordingly to their investor on the basis of their needs only. They never focus on the product, they always focus on their needs only. He has conducted hundreds of lecture and workshop throughout the country on personal financial management for Indian Armed Force officers. So that's why their organization have their client base across the country, because of their unique coverage and advice. He has a such robust system and process where investor onboard and achieve their goal in a systematic way with their recommendation. So in last, I want to say Sanjeev sir and Bindu ma'am both are very clear and crystal about their working, had a belief to be successful. So today, as a RM feel proud to have known him. I wish the entire team of Fauji Private Limited all the very best. Thank you for your support, sir. Looking forward.
Thank you very much, Tarun, for saying all these good things. The ego is boosted.
Thank you, Tarun, for that. I think we always have discussed about that, the fact that the armed forces are special people, and Fauji Financial Services is doing something more special for those special people. So, sir, I'll end with all the question which we ask all our partners who are our guests on this show, that what is your advice when it comes to distribution and what your views on this profession going ahead?
Okay, right. So I've spoken in various forums. The very first point I say is dream big. It is again, these are not just empty words. Like they say, when you if you aim your arrows at the sun, it will not reach the sun, but it will definitely fly higher than if you aim at your eye level.
Wow.
So I tell the people who are just starting off in this business that right from day one, dream big. If you are the only one that your company has, plan as if shortly you are going to have 1,000 team members. That's how your systems and processes should be. That is, you are setting a sound footing for a great big business in times to come, and already harnessing the power of a team, even if you are the only team. And you should always think that there is no dream too far. Always remember that. Second thing I tell them is believe in the power of compounding. Initially, there is always pain, like in a sip. there is a small amount going, but these small drops only make the mighty ocean. So believe in the power of compounding of your business, give it time to grow, and then maybe you will not be able to stop it also. It will start becoming so big. Third thing that I say is work-life balance. Initially, forget about it. It will not happen. But try to achieve it as early as possible. Otherwise, if the person who's heading an organization is stressed, then the business will get stressed. And the last thing I would say to the fellow mutual fund distributors, to the fellow advisors, is doing good to others when you become capable. Whether it is through your business, the way you conduct your business, ethics and values, or through your company and through self-charity. This is all that matters finally in the life.
Lovely. I think Sir has summed it up very well. I would also like to touch upon what I have seen about from Fauji and Sir is that once the team has grown to a certain size and the practice which he wanted to set up, Sir and Bindu ma'am together also have a very active community support and philanthropy part of their business also. So what he's talking about is also visible in his business. There is a large part of philanthropy which probably we could cover. That will be a show by itself of what Sir has been doing for the community at large. But thank you, Sanjeev sir, for being so lucid with your thoughts. And as I said, I have my learnings from a lot of our interactions and when you've spoken on seminars. When the whole industry did not know about IAP, you were already traveling 20 days a month, talking just about personal finance to people who now are coming up in loads to you. So we wish you, ma'am, the family, and such a large and strong team at Fauji Financial Services all the very best. It's a pleasure and honor to have you with us today. We wish you all the best, and we look forward to this association going ahead further into the future. And thank you, viewers, for watching The Big Leap. We hope you have found this episode very interesting, and we look forward to bring other such stories again in the future. Thank you and take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayukh, and the best of luck, Mirae Asset. Best of luck to each one of you. Thank you very
so
much.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.